All right, so I also wanted to talk about a couple of principles of mine. And so here are 5 principles that you can use to improve your life in general. These are all working behind the scenes and, well, directly, indirectly, sometimes dynamically, sometimes independently. They all work within my methods, my philosophy, mindsets, and so forth, the tools I've created. All right. So these are the tools I use myself. Everything I say I've done, or everything is out of my own experience. All right. I don't use anything that I haven't tried. One principle is owning yourself. You got to own yourself because otherwise you will never feel satisfaction. Or at least if you're that same spirit as I am, you always hate when people tell you what to do, all right? And I think most people are like this. But truly, even when I knew the subject thoroughly, better than the professors, when it was philosophy or history of ideas and stuff like that, I knew more than them, and still for the exams, I felt terrible because, and I know a lot of young people feel terrible when they do before examination tests and stuff. But still, today there are older people going to university as well, so this might work for all kinds of people. But there is a principle there, and I hated it because I realized that I hated it because I don't own myself here. I have to, instead of reading Nietzsche that I wanted to, instead of reading Nietzsche or Søren Kierkegaard or someone else, I want to read something else. Instead of that, I had to study what I didn't want to study and stuff I already knew a lot about. So you don't have any control. So you want self-control. That's what we teach here, and ultimate owning yourself. All right. So it is inevitable that you have to create your own business, because if you're not your own boss, you will always hate yourself, hate your life, hate your purpose. You have no purpose, actually. There is no direction because you're in someone else's purpose. All right. You are someone else's purpose. Now, the world can't work if everyone has their own business. Perhaps it can, but if you think about it, doesn't seem like that would work. But doesn't matter. We're not here for everyone. We're here for people who are ambitious. All right, and people who are ambitious, they have to be their own business owners, or at least partner up with someone, the same way Steve Jobs did, with what was he called? Steve Wozniak, I think. And so you gotta own yourself. That's one principle. That's why also I talk about calisthenics, because you control yourself, you own yourself totally. So everything you do, sleep, everything you do, habits, creating your new identity, creating your new self, removing your old self, changing clothes, and stop wearing these, baggy stuff. All right, so you gotta feel better. You gotta feel better as well. Perhaps I'll make a video about this as well. So the second principle would be acting upon your desire, right? Acting upon your desire. You gotta act on your desire. Otherwise, nothing will happen. All right. So if you want to write that book, you gotta write that book. You can't dream all your life All right? You can't think your way out of things. You can't intellectualize out of depression and stuff, because you'll always return to what's the meaning of life and questions like that, which are important, but you gotta take a step. All right? You gotta take a step where you say that, all right, enough. I gotta live life as well. I can't just think about this stuff. I gotta live as well. All right, so just not to get stuck. I know there is a lot of people like this. And it's not always intellectual. I mean, other people have, it's in different ways for most people, I think. They're just stuck in their negative thinking. Well, I was as well. You know, you question yourself, can I do this? Am I good at painting and so forth? And I proved myself that I was still good at painting. I did a painting a couple of months ago, just to, I don't know, it was a random act. I just felt like it and I did it. All right. So if you feel like it, but before that, I had developed my instincts by working on myself. So I already had those instincts turned on, so to speak. And so I just felt this and I just acted upon it. You see, I acted upon my desire. I desired to do it, and then I listened to my instinct and I did it. So instinct becomes like a guide, like a guidance. That's why you become your own motivator later. You won't need me or anyone else. You will listen to your instincts and do that instead. But you still need some philosophy to structure your life, because otherwise everything is chaotic, everything is chaos. We can't have chaos. You might have chaos only one day, let's say Saturday or something, on your free day, but otherwise, if you want to be productive, you need organized life and structure and habits and so forth. All right? Otherwise, nothing will get done, even if you're a writer and so forth. Even if you're an artist, okay? All right, so acting upon your desire. If you desire a great body, you gotta act. You gotta do some push-ups. You can't think your way into six-pack abs and all of these things and losing weight. You gotta act. You gotta eat better. You gotta eat cleaner, more ancestral, or keto, or paleo, or carnivore, or whatever else you wanna try. All right, even veganism. All right. I'm not for veganism. I'm not for fruitarianism because the body, there is something called bioavailability, and the body absorbs nutrition and energy much better, and protein and so forth much, much, much better from animal foods than plant-based foods. All right, that's just how it is. You got to prepare plant-based foods properly. All right, everything, all of them, even nuts, you gotta dry them in the sun and so forth. All right, so there are some ancient ways, but let's not delve too deep into that. If you want a great body, you gotta act upon your desire, but this acting upon your desire is not enough. All right, so I have this the third principle. You gotta, and this I've stated many, many times, especially in the beginning of this platform, in the earliest videos, I mentioned your higher desire. You got to focus on your higher desire, and these are connected, because your higher desire is that greater body that you want to achieve. You want to look good and feel good. Well, when you look good, you will feel good and so forth. All right, so aesthetics and health are connected. So you got to act upon your higher desire, because this is actually in some sense looking for the perfect goal, aiming for the goal, but we work on ourselves and we work on improving ourselves. This could actually be another principle, because so this is connected to this as well. So let's say that's our fourth principle. All right, working on ourselves, focusing on ourselves. That's the fourth principle. All right, this principle is connected to the third, because you got to focus on the improvements, and you got to listen to your instinct, or start listening to your instinct. You got to stop listening to music. You got to stop multitasking with everything you do. You can't multitask. No person is good at multitasking. Everyone thinks they're great at multitasking. They're all terrible at multitasking. We know this from driving and listening to stuff and so forth. All right? People are terrible at this. There are studies on this showing that you just get worse on your task. All right? So you gotta, when you do your task, you focus 100% on this task, then you finish, and so forth. All right? The same with, even when you're eating. You eat and nothing else. You just eat, and obviously you think, but you might think about your work or something, which is good, but so you have some time to think as well. So that's great. Or work with someone, some partner or something. Or if you're in a meeting or something. But, all right, so the fourth, you focus on this body. Let's take exercise. Exercise is one of the best metaphors or analogies, actually, that I love to use because it's so straightforward, all right, and real. You can't bullshit your way through a greater body. You gotta do the work, all right. That's why it's such a good analogy, and it goes with everything, all right. If you want to be an author, you gotta do the work. And it doesn't mean that just work hard. No, you gotta work smart, not just work hard. You look for the best. You see their patterns, and you try to imitate the best patterns. But you also experiment, of course, because you need to find your own way, your own path. All right, you can't walk the path of the same. That's why, all these religious leaders, or let's say Buddha, for example, you can't walk the path of Buddha. That's why the book Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse is actually better than the whole of Buddhism, in my opinion, because the message is, you have your own path and you gotta live that path. You can't experience other people's paths, all right? You're in your own mind, you're in your own brain, and I'm in mine, all right? So we can't, at least not yet anyway. Perhaps we'll do that in the future, but all right, so you gotta focus on yourself, your improvements. So you don't listen to music, so that you can, when you do the push-up, let's say you can do 5 push-ups and 4 sets, let's say, and you do that. You need to do it consistently, by the way, and you need to do it especially in the beginning, and you need to have the mindset of doing this every day, because otherwise, as a natural, you can't, you need to do it more often to get some results, all right? But so you work, and you can't get that big, by the way. You gotta accept this, all right? There's a lot of false information out there, both on YouTube and everywhere. So the fifth principle you can use to improve your life is joy in the process. You gotta have joy in the process to love everything you do. That's why, so this is built in as well when it comes to working on yourself, because you gotta find your diet. You gotta love your diet, all right? I love the way I eat, all right? I'll eat some fruit, I eat meat, I eat some eggs, I eat some fish, I eat some liver, and I love it. And that's what I love. And perhaps sometimes some carrots and nuts and seeds, and that's it. And it's my favorite way to eat. But some people might want to add some rice or something, or some potatoes, at least sometimes. A lot of people these foods rice and potatoes are quite inflammatory. So you gotta be a bit careful here, but it might work for you. It all depends on people, all right? We can't all eat the same thing. There is no best diet for everyone. You gotta find your diet. And so yeah, and your exercise, you gotta find your meditation, your sleep, and so forth. If you need help with diet, exercise, and so forth, if you have depression and anxiety, or a bunch of things, we will make a plan, step-by-step plan, we will take you out of all these issues, and you can connect with me. So for consultations, and so the email is in every video description, and it's in the about page, both in the link and in the text. So yeah, keep working on yourself, love life, amor fati, love your fate, love your destiny, create your destiny, character is destiny, and see you guys tomorrow.